Identify.
Lamentation.
Voice print identified. Retina and fingerprint identification required. Access granted. Clearance level 5 accessed. Welcome back, Commander.
Gax. Open document file Delta 14. Play audio logs.
Opening audio file. Beginning playback. Audio log Delta 14-1 Alpha. Subject, Dimension 14. Date,
Redacted.
2065.
For the record, this is Commander.
Redacted.
You have PMC Griffin and Kruger, clearance level 5. This document, as well as future documents regarding Dimension 14, shall be placed into Level 3 clearance within the Griffin database, as well as Level 2 clearance within the Foundation's database. Dimension 14 was first discovered by Griffin after we were tipped off by O53 regarding a catastrophic containment breach at Site-19. The cause of the breach was due to a majority of the female humanoid SCPs and personnel being infected with a prion disease named Valentine's Day Infection 14, more commonly referred to as VDI-14. Notes about the disease can be found from files that were handed over to us by the Foundation, who were handed over by HC1, leader of Group of Interest Broken Hearts. In short, VDI-14 is a prion disease that only affects human females. The disease is transmitted through ingestion of chocolate and also airborne around flowers. The disease essentially turns the infected into yanderes. Estimated statistics from the CDC put the percentage of girls worldwide who are infected at 98.5%, taking just 6 days after the first reported case. Within 72 hours of first infection, most world governments and militaries collapse. In fact, even the Strategic Homeland Division collapsed. According to the O5 Council of Dimension 14, what's left of it at least, the disease is not classified as an SCP. I'm not so sure I believe him. Skipping forward 2 years after first infection, resistance movements began to rise against the nymphomaniacal women, the largest being Group of Interest Broken Hearts, a force of only 3,000 men as of current iteration in the United States. The Foundation and GLC quickly established an alliance with the High Council of the Broken Hearts. With their help in secret, different facilities and bunkers were restored to the point where they could be fully functional, mostly old military bunkers. As mentioned earlier, the cause of Site-19's mass containment breach was due to a majority of the female humanoid SCPs and personnel infected with VDI-14. Many of the SCPs were able to escape the Foundation altogether, wandering the world in search of a male to kidnap and such. Subjects who escaped include, but are not limited to, Subject 347, Subject 847, Subject 2396, Subject 166, Subject 1903, Subject 336, Subject 105, Subject 054, and more disturbingly, Subjects 040, 191, 053, and 239. And how those last four became Yangires instead of yanderes. All of them are issues in their own rights, but Subject 166 is the most concerning. Given her cognito-hazardous nature, she has the capability to be weaponized by the infected. Intel from the High Council confirmed that former Site Theta 2 is being used as a brothel as well as a research facility by the infected to begin experimentation regarding their overall endgame. Given that some of the researchers there were Foundation researchers, this explains why the infected were after Subject 166 and how they knew about her. To avoid internal conflict within the group, information about us will be strictly limited within Broken Hearts. Firstly, any presence maintained within 14 must remain 100% deniable. The High Council, site captains, and their second-in-commands will get to know about us in full. I'd rather not spark a civil war of some kind because my army is entirely made up of girls. Thanks, Kruger.
Audio log Delta 14-1 Bravo. Subject, Operation Dark Spring. Date,
Redacted.
2065.
A termination order for Subject 166 was issued shortly after the containment breach. From my understanding, 051 met with HC-1, Epsilon Phi site captain, and their top field operative to inform them of Subject 166's escape as well as the manhunt operation against Subject 166, simply known as Operation Dark Spring. They tracked Subject 166 over at New York City, passing through the old Dark Zone over where the Bounty Feast incident occurred some time ago in Division 14 before the Valentine's Day apocalypse. Now, that area is marked as the Spring Zone. I didn't even know Bounty Feast also took place in Division 14 until Agent Vector brought it up. They're only sending in one operative for the mission. The field operative selected is Agent Joe Panzer. Agent Panzer is a former division agent that was involved with Bounty Feast, which led to the recruitment of Agents Vector and Forsyth as well as the apprehension of Task Force 4 member Deer. This morning, Holfi 3 contacted me. 3 wants me to send in forces in SC4 to cause a diversion by attacking the infected horde directly. I'm not exactly in a position to refuse, only their help later with the sub-base. I know the ladies are a bit uncomfortable with killing love-struck women, given that they're almost like the women in Dimension 14, but they'll do damn near anything for me. Once Panzer kills 166 or when the infected start to overwhelm us, we'll have to dip out. Whichever happens first.
Audio log Delta 14-1 Charlie. Subject,
Redacted.
date,
Redacted.
2065. Viewing level 3 document.
Did HC1 tell you? It was actually Holfi 3 who told me. That's why I'm here. What about Dark Spring? Right after that meeting you had before abandoning Epsilon 5, they wanted me to open up a diversion attack to buy you as much time as possible. But I had to nip out once HVT is confirmed dead, or if the infected start to ignore us. Whichever comes first. I'll relay info to the interdimensional comms relay. And if they ask you, I'm not surprised the High Council doesn't hate you. I'm pretty sure that's because the dolls already have what they want. Me, whether I like it or not. Not to mention your alliance with the Foundation. Just like us. It's probably the reason why Broken Hearts is still standing. Although just barely. The infected are getting more and more desperate. They're resorting to use the normal release to coerce us into loving them. I know how that feels. Now that I think about it, if they get too trying to weaponize 166's ability, what other shit are they working on? Alright, ahead of you. I said
Redacted.
to go deep undercover with Data 2. I'm waiting to hear from her soon. And that's why you're the perfect ally to have. Whatever supplies you need, just let me know. Actually, there is something I'll need from you. What? Extra ammo? Field rations? No. Something else.
Remainder of audio file classified under Griffin clearance level 5. Audio log Delta 14-2 Alpha. Subject, playing field. Date,
Redacted.
2065.
You wanted to see me, my love?
Да, прощайся, Войса.
Is it time for our love-making session already?
What? No. No. Not at all.
Oh. Am I in trouble?
Also no. You've been selected for an undercover ops assignment.
Really?
I'm sending you to Dimension 14 to be infiltrating a settlement by the infected and finding out what they're up to.
Forgive me for asking, but wouldn't this assignment be better suited for...
Redacted. Redacted.
You're right. They would be perfect for this mission, but neither one of them is Coins Level 3.
Redacted.
Evan,
Redacted.
they're more Yandir than I am. They should be the ones.
It's an extra-dimensional affair, you know I can't involve them. Besides, you can conceal your weapon much easier than either of them.
So what do I need to do?
Infiltrate the facility, gather all of the information you can, and transfer all of it to us. Do whatever it takes to maintain cover. If you're compromised, do not stand your ground. Get out of there by whatever means necessary. On a safe area, we'll pull you back.
You want me to be a double agent?
Do you think you can do that?
Anything for you, my sweet.
Good. You'll be deploying tomorrow morning. Our combat team will get you through the 14, but you're on your own after that.
There's something about this that bugs me.
What is it?
Why not just take down their whole operation? I can find a way to tear it all down from within.
No, we are not to attempt any sabotage. Just monitor for now. We need to learn what the playing field looks like before we can decide our next move in 14. Given that activating Directive Omega isn't the next move.
Understood. But tell me, do you see us like them? How they are with their love interest? I can sense it in your facial expressions. You're afraid, aren't you?
Most at about 200, meaning adjourned.
Audio log Delta 14-2 Bravo. Subject, Project Valentine. Date,
Redacted.
2065.
We've recovered some intel regarding various projects in Site Data 2 thanks to Peter.
Redacted.
We already know about the infected developing sleeper agents, but that was on the tip of the iceberg. To cover the basics, the infected base will work off of MK Ultra, as well as Dragovich's numbers program back in the Cold War. Ever since Site Beta 9 fell, varying cases of sabotage were reported all over Dimension 14, which primarily caused Sites Epsilon 5 and Kappa 7 to fall.
Redacted.
I was able to secretly take photos of some other projects that are ongoing. One of them is Project Valentine, a transmitter that supposedly broadcasts a psychic drone of sorts. Under normal circumstances, this would be immensely difficult to achieve, but since some of the research personnel are former researchers for the SCP Foundation, as well as having access to the anomalous world, they've made good progress on it. If they're able to get Project Valentine fully up and running, they can essentially force the surviving man to break down mentally, whether instantly or gradually, and become completely submissive to the infected, all within a single region-wide broadcast. And then there's Project Patheo. Project Patheo focuses on harvesting Subject 166's anomalous ability. Some infected were mobilized towards the Dark Zone in order to capture Subject 166 so they can siphon her ability for anyone to use. After all, Patheo was the goddess of persuasion and seduction. The whole purpose of Operation Dartspring was to prevent the development of Project Patheo. Luckily for us, Operation Dartspring was a success. As a result, Project Patheo is now on definite hold, possibly even terminated completely. But now they're prioritizing large-scale tests of Project Valentine, codenamed Operationiya Radiostansia, Operation Radio Station. Why it's in Russian, I can only theorize. In that theory, they're about to attempt the same thing Dragovich did almost 100 years ago.
Document Delta 14-2 Charlie. Subject, Valentine Test Site. Date,
Redacted.
2065.
Commander, they took over an abandoned broadcasting tower to test Project Valentine. It's in the area near Site Omega 6. You should be able to locate it fairly easily using the Aussie. They're conducting the final testing phases now. There's not much time left before they commence with the Operation Radio Station. From your dearest.
Redacted.
P.S. They call themselves the Psychics, named after the Greek goddess Psyche, wife of Eros. The one in charge of everything is Aphrodite. Love you.
Document Delta 14-3 Alpha. Subject, Contingency Plan. Date,
Redacted.
2065.
Should an IK-class collapse of global civilization scenario be declared by the Foundation, Directive Omega will be activated. STF Omega-65 will then proceed to create a global thermonuclear war as a scorched earth policy, while evacuating any remaining survivors and resources to Dimension.
Redacted.
Furthermore, the dimensional link with 14 will be completely severed. Access to Dimension 14 will no longer be possible by any known means. To achieve the contingency plan, 051 of Dimension
Redacted.
will access the Omega warheads in each site within Dimension 14 and detonate all of them simultaneously. Meanwhile, representatives from the UN and the Massvillism Church will launch all of the publicly known nuclear missiles scattered all over the world. Estimated time between declaration and detonation, 12 hours. Even if we are able to start the nuclear war, alpha priority is getting the surviving inhabitants out of 14. Should Project Valentine be allowed to become fully operational, Directive Omega will be automatically activated without the need of the prior meeting that's normally required. The O5 Council and the Council of 108 are already on edge given what's going on at Dimension 14, and have already begun making large-scale preparations for Directive Omega's activation. GACT. Copy files D14-2B and 2C onto attached flash drive.
Copying files Delta 14-2 Bravo and 2 Charlie onto attached flash drive. Authorized personnel detected outside command room. Identified. Elizabeth. Clearance level 05.
ただいま。またテント忘れてもうた。
Files successfully copied. Mimetic kill agent security measure installed.
Assemble a task force. We're going to Dimension 14.